Most people expect to slow down as they age. Some even believe it's inevitable to lose the ability to walk long distances or climb stairs after 80. But in the southern islands of Japan, especially Okinawa, the image is different. You'll find men and women well into their 90s still walking to the market, pulling weeds in the garden, or cooking breakfast for their grandchildren. These elders don't use step counters. They don't drink protein shakes or take mobility supplements. Yet their bodies remain surprisingly agile. They squat, stand up, and move with a grace that baffles even modern doctors. So the question is, what's protecting their joints, their muscles, and their ability to move, even in extreme old age? Some people rush to blame genetics. And yes, genes may help, but they're only part of the story. What's far more fascinating is how they live, and especially what they eat. Because in Japan, food is not just fuel. It's a quiet ritual, a lifelong rhythm of nourishment that starts in childhood and continues well into their 90s. There's no rush to finish meals, no eating in front of the TV. Instead, there's intention in every bite, variety in every plate, moderation in every serving. And among these plates, one food appears again and again, not in celebration, but in routine. A vivid purple food with roots that reach deep into the soil and the history of Okinawa. It's not eaten to treat disease. It's not labeled as a superfood in their language. But over decades, this humble root becomes something more. A quiet protector of health, mobility, and graceful aging. Could it be that the key to moving well into your 90s isn't found in a pill, but in a sweet, earthy flavor shared at the dinner table? As we explore further, we'll look beyond hype or miracle claims. We'll see how this food and the habits around it may explain why Japanese elders stay mobile far longer than most expect. Not all Japanese elders look like health magazine models. Many have bent backs, wrinkled hands, and slower steps, but they keep moving. In Japan, aging is not feared. It's respected even with wrinkles, back pain, or tired knees. Mobility isn't about perfection. It's about staying engaged in life. If you visit Okinawa or rural parts of Japan, you'll see it everywhere. Elders walking to the corner store, watering their garden, cooking meals from scratch. They don't go to the gym, but they move constantly, not out of discipline, but out of routine. They sit on the floor. They stand up many times a day from a kneeling or squatting position. Their homes aren't filled with plush sofas and recliners. They sleep on futons stored each morning. So, every day begins with movement. It's not glamorous, but it works. These small movements repeated for decades keep joints alive and muscles awake. And then there's the food. Not because they follow a diet, but because tradition feeds them well. Elders often eat with family. Even when living alone, many still cook for themselves every day. They don't eat large portions. Instead, meals are made of many small dishes with a focus on vegetables, legumes, and whole ingredients. There's no obsession with protein shakes, but tofu, miso, seaweed, and sweet potatoes quietly nourish the body. One of the most common staples in Okinawa is the beni, the purple sweet potato. It's not eaten as dessert or novelty. It's part of daily meals. Sometimes mashed, sometimes sliced, sometimes added to soups or rice. It's a food that elders grew up with and still reach for. Not because it's trendy, but because it's always been there. And as modern science would later discover, this humble root may offer quiet protection, not magic, but consistent support for joints, digestion, circulation, and more. But here's the key. They don't eat it because it helps mobility. They eat it because it's part of their life. It's a cultural habit that nourishes both body and spirit. And it may be one reason why so many Japanese elders stay active long into their later years. If you visit a local market in Okinawa, you'll see baskets filled with a strange-looking root. It's rough, earthy, and when you slice it open, it reveals a brilliant, almost fluorescent purple inside. This isn't just a colorful ingredient. It's one of the quiet heroes of the Okinawan kitchen and one of the most widely eaten foods among elders who live well past 90. The Okinawan purple sweet potato, known locally as beni, has been a dietary staple for generations. But it didn't originate in Japan. It came from the Americas centuries ago, brought by trade routes, and adapted to Okinawan soil. Unlike the common orange sweet potato found in the West, beni contains an extraordinary amount of anthocyanins, the same powerful antioxidants found in blueberries. These pigments not only give it its vivid purple color, but also have been shown to reduce oxidative stress and inflammation in the body. Oxidative stress is one of the key drivers of aging, especially in tissues like cartilage, joints, and muscles. When free radicals accumulate, mobility begins to decline. That's where beni quietly steps in. Eaten not as a supplement, but as a daily food, it delivers a steady stream of protective compounds over decades. In Okinawa, elders don't measure antioxidants or track inflammation, but they've eaten this route their whole lives, boiled, mashed, baked, and even blended into desserts. Modern researchers became fascinated by Okinawa because of its unusually high number of centenarians. In fact, for years, the region held the world record for longest healthy lifespan. In a major study known as the Okinawa Centenarian Study, scientists found that the traditional Okinawan diet was over 60%. Sweet potatoes, most of them purple. White rice played a much smaller role, and meat was eaten sparingly. This high intake of fiber-rich, antioxidant-dense food supports not just digestive health, but also stable blood sugar, reduced inflammation, and muscle repair. These are all factors that influence mobility in old age. Let's talk about fiber for a moment. In Western diets, fiber is often overlooked, but in Okinawa, the beni provides a natural source that feeds the gut microbiome. Healthy gut bacteria help reduce systemic inflammation, regulate metabolism, and even influence muscle synthesis through short-chain fatty acids. So, while elders may not know the science, their microbiome is quietly thriving. Another key aspect is resistant starch, a type of carbohydrate in beni that acts more like fiber than sugar. It doesn't spike blood glucose, and it helps maintain steady energy throughout the day. This means that instead of energy crashes or joint inflammation caused by sugar spikes, elders get slow, stable fuel to keep them moving. Even their brains benefit with studies linking anthocyanins to improved cognitive function in aging populations. Let's not forget vitamin C, potassium, and magnesium, all present in beni. These support muscle contraction, electrolyte balance, and reduce cramping, especially important for those in their 80s and 90s. But what makes this food so powerful isn't just the nutrients. It's the consistency. The fact that elders have eaten it for decades without thinking of it as a health food. No diets, no macros, no counting anything. Just beni part of lunch or dinner or breakfast, always present. Some Westerners look for quick fixes. A pill to restore joints. A drink to erase years of inflammation. But in Japan, the approach is softer. It's daily. It's generational. So when you see a 92-year-old Japanese woman standing at the stove, stirring soup, it's not just willpower. Her body has been supported by decades of nourishment. That reduced silent damage and kept her cells resilient. The purple sweet potato doesn't promise miracles. It doesn't cure disease or replace medical care, but is part of a way of life. One that respects tradition, simplicity, and variety. It may quietly guard what matters most, the ability to move, not just to survive, but to stay connected, self-sufficient, and present in daily life. In the West, we often ask, what can I take to fix this? In Okinawa, the better question might be, what have I eaten every day without fail for 90 years? Purple sweet potatoes are part of the story, but they're not the only reason Japanese elders stay mobile. What keeps their bodies moving isn't a single food. It's a way of life. In Okinawa and other regions of Japan, movement is built into the rhythm of every day. They don't exercise in the Western sense. They live actively by necessity and tradition. Most homes don't have chairs or sofas. They sit on the floor, then stand up repeatedly throughout the day. This strengthens legs, hips, and core muscles without a gym or trainer. Gardens are common even in old age. Tending vegetables, bending, walking barefoot on uneven ground. It all trains balance and muscles subtly but powerfully Meals are eaten slowly and with presence. No phones, no fast food, no rushing through lunch. Stress is lower not because life is easier, but because community is strong. Elders are not isolated. They're respected, included, and expected to contribute even in small ways. This social connection supports mental health, which in turn supports physical health. Loneliness and depression, common in aging populations in the West, are less prevalent in places like Okinawa. Their plates reflect the seasons. Vegetables in spring, bitter melon in summer, root vegetables in winter. Their bodies stay in sync with nature, eating what grows locally without ultra-processed food. There's no magic in what they do, only consistency. Quiet daily habits repeated over decades, forming a soft armor against frailty. So yes, the purple sweet potato matters, but only because it's part of something larger. A lifestyle that honors the body, the land, and the small rituals of living well. Not all centenarians run marathons, but many still cook their meals and walk to the market. They move slower with more effort, but they still move. In Japan, aging isn't treated like a battle to be won. It's a process to be respected, even embraced. And mobility, that precious gift we take for granted in youth, is preserved not through heroic effort, but through daily, quiet care. It starts with your plate, and it continues with how you choose to live slowly, simply with rhythm. You don't need to move to Japan, but perhaps you can borrow a few of its gifts. Try adding purple sweet potato to your meals. Not for a miracle, but for what it represents: nourishment, tradition, and strength built quietly over time. If you want to go deeper into the Okinawan way of living, we gently recommend the Okinawa Diet Plan, a beautiful guide to the lifestyle that supports strength into your 90s and beyond. Link in the description. Subscribe for more Japanese-inspired longevity wisdom shared with calm and care.